Hey everyone, Amtrak Guy 365 here, and today on this edition of Engines of Amtrak, I'll be discussing the Siemens ACS-64. Amtrak's Northeast Corridor had been long known for a few select engines, namely the GG1, E60, AEM7, and HHP8. With time, though, the 1930s era GG1 would eventually fade out in favor of the newer AEM7. These Swedish-inspired locomotives, nicknamed meatballs and toasters, would act as the backbone of Amtrak's commuter services up and down the NEC beginning in 1978. They were boxy, quick, but most importantly, reliable. They would even see a rebuild phase from 1999 to 2002 to extend their career. During the development of the Acela Express in the mid to late 1990s, the HHP8 was created and went into service between 1999 and 2001. These were made to supplement the retirement of the E60 units, along with the AEM7 units going down for maintenance. The AEM7 refurbishment program went well, giving the toasters improved technology and performance. On the other hand, the HHP8 was proving to be problematic. In 2002, all 15 locomotives were temporarily withdrawn along with the Acela Express due to shared cracking in the trucks. Even when fixed, the HHP8s were still no good for service. Continued issues included wheel slip, especially in the fall, microprocessors malfunctioning in adverse temperatures, cab signals failing, among other performance issues. By 2009, the locomotives were undergoing unscheduled maintenance every 12.6 days on average. This soon forced Amtrak to begin development of a replacement locomotive. However, not only would it replace the HHP8, but the AEM7 too. As was typical with Amtrak's electric locomotives, the railroad looked to Europe for inspiration. The basis for this new unit would be the Eurosprinter and Vectron series of locomotives. However, heavy modifications would be required to meet American standards. This engine would come to be known as the Amtrak Cities Sprinter, and its technical name, the Siemens ACS-64. An order of 70 locomotives was placed in October 2010 at a cost of $466 million US. The locomotive would be completed with contributions from several different states and factories. As for the American modifications, positive train control or PTC, crumple zones, an anti-climber, and a much more durable cap were implemented. The locomotive, similar to the Genesis series, has a monocoque or single shell body design. Other additions included advanced safety systems and special couplers designed to prevent jackknifing or rolling over in a derailment. Compared to its predecessors, the ACS-64 would be much more energy efficient and cost-friendly to operate. They make use of regenerative braking, which when activated, feeds unused electricity back into the overhead wire system for other trains to use. With regards to technical specifications, the name ACS-64 stands for Amtrak Cities Sprinters, and the 64 stands for 6.4 megawatts of power. They're rated for a top speed of 125 miles per hour and produce 8,600 horsepower. They weigh in at 215,537 pounds. They come in at a length of 66 feet 8 inches, a width of 9 feet 9.5 inches, and a height of 12 feet 6 inches. The ACS-64 comes equipped with a Nathan K5LA air horn. Here's a few samples. Amtrak's order of 70 locomotives, numbered 600 to 670, would begin delivery in February 2013. Amtrak and Siemens unveiled the first 3 completed locomotives on May 13, 2013. Testing would take place during the summer that year with numbers 600 and 601 at the Transportation Technology Center in Pueblo, Colorado, and number 602 on the Northeast Corridor. With tests proving successful, revenue service would begin a little under a year later. A day prior to the first revenue run on February 6, 2014, then Amtrak CEO and President Joseph Boardman and then U.S. Vice President Joe Biden visited 30th Street Station in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to give speeches about the importance of the new locomotives and the Northeast Corridor.
We're delivering in the middle of a time that it's hard to deliver anything in this nation from infrastructure.
It's hard to imagine what life would be along the corridor without Amtrak.
Biden would also tour ACS-64 locomotive number 600. The next day on February 7th, locomotive number 600 entered revenue service as the first ACS-64 on Northeast Regional Train number 171 from Boston, Massachusetts to Washington, D.C. The first run went very well, with the train running right on time. The sprinters would prove to be the successful and modern replacement for Amtrak's aging fleet of electric locomotives. Later that year on November 7th, Amtrak had retired the last of their HHP-8 locomotives, placing them into storage. The retired units would be renumbered to 680 to 694 to avoid duplication with the ACS-64 units. Around this time as well, ACS-64 number 600 was named David L. Gunn after Amtrak's CEO and president who led the railroad between 2002 and 2005. On another unfortunate note, on May 12, 2015, ACS-64 number 601 was involved in a derailment in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Traveling 102 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone, the train veered off a 4-degree curve. Of the 238 passengers and 5 crew members, 8 were killed and over 200 were injured, with 11 critically injured. The National Transportation Safety Board ruled that the engineer had been distracted and lost situational awareness, leading to the crash. Another reasoning for the wreck was a lack of operational automatic train control and positive train control on that particular section of track. Amtrak would soon install ATC in the section after the derailment. On a more positive note, the ACS-64 would find new life on the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, or SEPTA. May 2015 saw the operator place an order for 13 units to replace their AEM7s and single ALP-44. The new locomotives would be delivered to SEPTA in December 2017. Back on Amtrak, unit number 642 would be delivered with a special veterans scheme in May 2015. Meanwhile, the AEM7s were gradually being phased out throughout 2015 and into 2016. Before they could be completely replaced, tragedy would once again strike the ACS-64s. On April 3, 2016, southbound Palmetto train number 89 struck a backhoe in Chester, Pennsylvania, derailing the train. 2 track workers were killed and 39 people were injured. Locomotive number 627 was severely damaged along with 2 passenger cars. A couple months later, Amtrak's final ACS-64 would be delivered. Number 670 was completed on June 2, 2016. Amtrak and Siemens celebrated, and it concluded with the unit being towed on Joseph Boardman's train heading for Washington, D.C. Number 670 would enter service that August. This celebration would be somewhat bittersweet though. With all the ACS-64s now delivered, this meant the few remaining AEM7s and their careers would soon be over. AEM7 number 942 and 946 made their final run on June 18, 2016. The train was a farewell excursion that ran between Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. This marked the end of an era on the Northeast Corridor, finally passing the torch over to the ACS-64s. While the sprinters are a sharp departure in appearance from their predecessors, they continue to serve Amtrak well up into this day in 2021. They're sleek, modern, fast, and reliable. The ACS-64 has definitely made its mark, and as of now, continues to make its mark on the history book of Amtrak, the National Railroad Passenger Corporation. Thanks for watching this episode of Engines of Amtrak. Thanks to everyone who submitted pictures and videos for this episode as well. From here on out with the series, I'll be focusing on remaking older episodes, as the older ones aren't always the most accurate and definitely aren't the most well edited. So stay tuned for next time when I rediscuss the Turboliner train sets. Thank you again for watching.